Hi everyone, my name is Ntokozo Sithole from Youth at Work, and today we are here at the incredible host site who is one of our partners at Youth at Work, Wendy from Impact Studios. We just want to hear a little bit from her and why she decided to have youth in her organization. So let's hear from her. Hi Wendy.
Hi Ntokozo.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Oh good. Can you please just introduce yourself and what you do high level in the company?
So my name is Wendy Mosetlhi. I'm the host and supervisor for Youth at Work. I host some of the youth from the organization, giving them exposure and experience in the workplace. I'll give a bit of background on the business holistically. So how the studio was born, or how AI Impact was born, was the team and I saw a need to demystify AI with all the hype that was happening. AI meant different things to different people, and we felt the need to talk about it and demystify it. So there is a media publication called AI Impact, and that's www.ai-impact.co.za, where you can read about all things AI. From the digital publication, we then saw a need to add a voice to it. And how we did that was by starting a podcast channel called AI Impact Talk. So that currently sits on YouTube. It is hosted by news anchor Tembegile Mkhototo, who's also on 94.7. And on that platform, we talk to high-level executives from different organizations. And at that time, the studio wasn't existing as yet. So we moved around trying to hire studios because we didn't have cameras and we wanted this dream to become alive. So we went around hiring the studio, and it was so difficult to navigate between executive diaries as well as Tembegile's busy schedule and getting a studio booking. So it was essentially trying to get 3 diaries and for all of them to align, so which became quite stressful. And also we found that the studios weren't centralized, so we would have to get someone from Sandton to drive all the way to a different area, which became a bit of a problem, especially because we're talking to CEOs and executives and they don't have a lot of time in their diaries. So we then started looking for something that would be central for everyone, and we were fortunate enough to come across this building, and then that is how the Impact Podcast Studio was born. Dealing with a lot of youth, dealing with a lot of entrepreneurs, dealing with a lot of influencers in the media space, we also saw a hunger and need for people to have access to camera spacing, to studio, to shooting, because the podcast is now the in thing, right? But people don't have access. They're not financially stable to build their own studios. So over and above hosting our own podcast, we thought we would then open our doors to young entrepreneurs, to influencers that wanted to share their voice, their influence, and we then opened up our doors and on a very, very affordable rate. So they come in and they record. We offer services whereby they come in, they record, we edit, and we give them YouTube-ready piece of content for them to just upload. We also assist in support in terms of social media guidance for those that are starting, and yeah.
I really
That's it in a nutshell.
I wanted to ask you what your organization does to help young people who are first-time job seekers, or maybe how you help the youth to be economically active. But what you just said is so profound. You've answered my question before
I've covered it all.
It.
I read your mind.
So now I just want to know what your perception is on South African youth when it comes to careers. Should SMEs open their doors for young people, and also what impact and value do they bring into businesses?
So I think there is a bit of a stigma around the youth in South Africa, and I think it's up to us to try and alleviate that, because obviously we're still faced with a very high unemployment rate in South Africa, but I think that our youth are very different to us you know, in terms of thinking, in terms of ideation, in terms of conceptualizing. And I think what I've learned from dealing with the youth that I'm dealing with is that they are very robust in thinking. However, you have to find a way to work with them, and you have to find a way to understand what it is that they enjoy doing and they like doing. And once you get that, I think it's very easy for you to get output out of them. They have to be in an environment that is conducive to what they believe in, what they believe is work. And once you give them that environment and you allow them to flourish, I think they really thrive. I've really had very good experiences with some of the youth. They bring a quite fresh energy. You know, they bring ideas sometimes that we would never have thought of. So I think it is important for us to just give them the opportunities, the platforms, and, you know, walk with them hand in hand, mentor, guide. I have found that as a supervisor, it's not only about the work itself, but it's more about character building. It's more about mentorship. It's more about understanding what's in their mind and helping them expand and amplify that in a professional way. So it's really been a great experience, and I do feel that we should encourage more SMMEs to give them that opportunity.
So since you've invited youth into your organization, what growth have you seen in them, be it personally or professionally? How have they grown? It's been very interesting actually to watch them grow and thrive. I mean, you meet them for the first time and they can't even look at you in the face and they can't even say their name out loud. And watching them grow in terms of confidence has been really pleasing. You know, watching them, for instance, handling these cameras like pros is quite pleasing. Watching the social media, you know, you spoke to them and they told you that they manage different social media accounts. Social media is quite an impactful platform, and I always sit with them and try and coach them into saying social media is not about, it's something that stays on the internet, and from a brand's point of view, it's something that's very crucial for each brand. So before you post, you know, we need to read and reread and read and, you know, let 3 other people read before you press the publish button. So watching them understand all of that process, watching them move around, talk to different people. One of the youth told you that we host quite high-level people. We have had senior people from Sanlam. We've had senior people from iStore, from HPE. We've had very influential people in terms of influencers, celebrities, and just them learning how to also engage with the different people that walk into the room and being able to read the room and saying, okay, today we have this person, we have to, you know, treat them this way or behave this way, has been quite interesting to watch. So I think they have grown holistically, work-wise, professionally, and personally. Beautiful. So as Youth at Work, we are looking into supporting the youth beyond the 12 months. So from your organization or your movement, what do absorption or retention prospects look like for the youth?
So we do try to absorb at least 25-30% of the youth that we use. So as a business, we're not only focusing, I mentioned a couple of things that we do. So we have a footprint on different areas. We also do host events, small, from podcasts to hybrid events to corporate events to lifestyle events. So we find where they will fit in best. As I said, it's important not only to look at them and say, this is a studio, handle a camera. Talk to them, engage with them, find out what it is that they enjoy doing, and they thrive in that space. So we try to align what it is where it is that they fit in.
Oh, perfect. So we just have like a call to action that what would you say to other tech companies that are hesitant to open their doors to young people or to programs such as Youth at Work?
I think I sort of touched on that when I was encouraging the SMMEs to open up their doors to the youth, and I think I still I will refer back to that and say, it's about giving an opportunity. I always say, you can go into an education institution and do your undergrad and do your postgrad and do your masters and whatever it is, but if no one gives you an opportunity, that is meaningless. So I think it is important that the people in the right places are the ones that actually give the youth that opportunity for us to combat the challenges that we faced with as a country, which is youth unemployment, which is the crime, because all of it interlink at the end of the day. Sure. So I think it is important that we try to make a difference and impact where we can. So just to maybe elaborate on that, with organizations and being in the position of employer and employee, I think, we drive a lot of revenue, income, business growth, and you're always wanting to sort of absorb or an intake of people with experience, and that will take your business or their organization to the next level. So I think perhaps the perception of taking people with no experience, because remember, when you are taking in the youth, they come in, some of them are a bit raw and rough, in terms of how they carry themselves. You have to teach them how to greet clients. You have to teach them how to respond to a message, to an email. Some of them, you have to teach them how to even start Outlook. So this is email. So that on its own takes a lot of time from the business, time that a permanent employee could be using to grow the business and bring in the revenue, but they're spending time teaching someone how to talk, how to walk, how to dress, how to carry themselves. And I think it's about just opening up and being open to having or intaking people that are fresh or the young ones that are fresh from varsity and school, and being able to just use some of your time that could be generating revenues for the business to invest back into the youth of South Africa.
Okay, thank you very much. Well,
okay, last question. I just want to know on a personal level, starting this business, what does it say to Wendy? What does it say about the person that you are?
So I'm actually a person that is very okay, sorry, let me start that. So as an individual, I am a person that is drawn into a lot of development, whether it's youth development, whether it's community development, whether it's projects that are aligned to the girl child, whether it's projects that are aligned to women development issues. I'm very highly involved in such. So for me, the business is a business, yes, but for me, I try to use the business as also a platform to help support what it is that is of passion to me. So those are the passion projects that I also do on the side. I do a lot of other passion projects with regard to community development and all of that. So I try to utilize the business to also amplify that, because it's something that I'm passionate about.
Thank you so much for having us today.
So with regard to the YES programs, I think they bring in They bring in high impact into the business, in that we, instead of getting or hiring someone from the outside with experience and they're coming on board, you then utilize while assisting the youth to learn, or while mentoring, while coaching, to then become a workforce as well. So they become extra hands in the workspace, while you are then at least there's a cost saving in terms of the YES program coming on board. So that saving alleviates a lot of financial pressure from the business, and at the same time we are able to focus on mentoring, coaching them, and so forth. Yeah.